You've heard it before. Stress is the silent killer. But what does that really mean? What is stress, and how can something so intangible as stress hurt us or kill us? You know, everyone's heard 95% of our chronic disease is caused by stress. Well, what does that mean? Well, let's look at what happens when we get stressed, when our body executes a stress response. What physically happens in the body that's making us so sick, and how can we stop that and regain our health again? That's what I want to talk about today. We have two sides of our nervous system. We have the sympathetic nervous system and we have the parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic is fight or flight. We are running a fight or flight response. Something in us is feeling threatened, and so we turn off the energies to the digestive system, to the immune system, to the reproductive system, to higher level executive functioning, because during those few minutes that we're running from a tiger or the perceived threat of a tiger, those things are not important for those couple of minutes. What's important is we can run fast. What's important is that we can get the adrenaline we need and the cortisol rush that we need, that we can increase our heart rate, increase our blood sugars, increase our blood pressure, so that we're prepared to fight or flight. There's over 1,000 different mechanisms that happen immediately in the body when we go into a fight or flight mode. And it's there to save our life. And it's a wonderfully designed thing, as it was meant to be millennia ago when our bodies were designed to survive. And the threat back then was the saber-toothed tiger chasing you. You fast forward now, our nervous systems have not evolved to keep up with the chronic modern day stress that we have here in the 21st century. We're in March 2020 right now. We're all under lockdown for the fear of coronavirus. There is constant stress in our lives. And not only coronavirus stress, there's the everyday stress of the toxic air that we're breathing, the fumes that we're breathing, the toxic indoor air quality, the pesticides in our foods, the emotional stresses we deal with. Even if we're not eating the pesticides and everything in our food, we're still having depleted soils, so the nutrition isn't what it used to be in our soils anymore. The electromagnetic fields and the radiation that's surrounding us because of cell phones and Wi-Fi. These are energies we can't see, but they're impacting us 24/7. All of these are stresses on the body, whether it's a physical stress, a car accident, somebody hits you, whether it's an emotional stress, you're going through a divorce or you got yelled at work, whether it's a mental stress, you have an argument with your boss or not sure what's happening with your husband or your wife. All of these thought processes, all of these stresses are reflected in the physical body. So what happens in the physical body? The brain doesn't distinguish between, oh, this is a big stress or a little stress. The brain's going to react with fight or flight, whether you're being chased by a tiger or whether you're in bad traffic and you're late for an appointment. You're going to get the same adrenaline rush and cortisol rush and high blood pressure and high blood sugar, even though your life's not in danger. But our nervous systems have not evolved to recognize, oh, this is just a minor stress. Don't release this flood of hormones right now. Our bodies haven't evolved for that yet. So what do we do? And well, actually, what does it mean? So when we have this fight or flight, this big reaction to something that's really not so big in comparison, what's happening to our body when we are living in fight or flight? Because in the case of a tiger, thousands and thousands of years ago, if you survive that, your body calms down after 2 or 3 minutes and you go back into the parasympathetic state. We are in chronic fight or flight right now with the foods, with the air, with all of our chronic fast-paced living and stresses, that we don't ever go back to parasympathetic. We're meant to live in parasympathetic. Right now, we are living in sympathetic nervous system. We are living in fight or flight, and that's what's causing so much of our chronic disease. So let's talk about what literally is happening when we're in fight or flight. As it takes energy. It takes energy to execute this major fight or flight response. The adrenaline, the blood sugars going up, the blood pressure going up, the tension in the muscles to prepare yourself to run from a fight. Even though you're just sitting in traffic, you're still having this big physiological response to stress. Where does the body get the energy to execute that big physiological response multiple times a day? It has to get it from the other systems of the body that are placed on the back burner when it comes to fight or flight, which is the immune system, the digestive system, reproductive system. Those energies flood into the fight or flight response so that you can run from the tiger, which isn't there anymore. Over time, if you're living in this chronic fight or flight state, these systems over here are chronically robbed of the energies that they need to perform their task. One of my mentors, Dr. Jeffrey Thompson at the Center for Neuroacoustic Research in California, describes this so well. I love how he says this. Wherever your genetic weak link is, whether it's digestion, whether it's your immune system, wherever your genetic weak link is, after months, years, decades of robbing these systems of energy to run this chronic stress response, after all of these years of that, one of those systems is going to fail or it's going to start showing symptoms. That's where your weak link is. So yes, you can go and you can start addressing all of these things, but if the root cause is over here, the chronic stress response, and these systems just need energy flooded back into them so the body can self-heal, which is what the body does. When we tap into the innate wisdom of the body, our body knows so much more. Our wisdom of our body knows so much more about healing than we could ever consciously know. So when we can send those energies back into those systems where they belong, those systems can then begin to start self-healing. Those systems say, finally, I have the energy I need to do this whole list of things I've been wanting to do, but I've had to give energy to stress response first. Now, if we can turn off that stress response, flood those energies back where they belong, the body's going to work on its list, and the body knows the exact order of what it wants to start working on. So the question becomes, how do we stop that chronic stress loop? How do we force ourselves to live more in the parasympathetic again? There are several ways of doing this. Let's first talk about how do we reduce stress. So there's physical stress, there's emotional stress, there's mental stress. So physical stress, what are you putting in your body? That's your nutrition. Are you eating organic? Or are you eating full of pesticides and toxins in your body? Are you drinking enough water? These are the physical things that we can start changing in our lives to reduce the physical stress. The emotional stress, what has happened in your life? Are there past traumas? Are there repressed emotions? Are there trapped emotions that weren't fully processed during a traumatic event? We all have them. We even have inherited ones from our ancestors. Several modalities to release trapped emotions from the body and relieve the body of some of that emotional stress. There's emotion code and touch for health. Those are two of the modalities that I work with. There's tapping. And when we talk about tapping, we can look at emotional health. We also look at mental health. Our mental body, our limiting self-beliefs, our recurring thought processes. What stresses are we looping through our mind all the time that's then acted out physiologically in our body's stress response? And how can we reprogram some of those thoughts to be truly healthy thoughts and not ruminating thoughts on unhealthy thoughts and behaviors? Tapping, EFT, emotional freedom technique, is a wonderful way to help reprogram the thoughts and the emotions around some of those thoughts and the emotions around some of our past stresses. Sound therapy. I'm a neuroacoustic sound therapy practitioner. One of the things that we do is we find the frequency of the nervous system. I have a massage table with speakers underneath it, and as someone's laying on the massage table, I'm watching their nervous system real time on my computer screen and delivering sound frequencies, and I can find the exact frequency, the exact note that trips their nervous system from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic state, and then make custom CDs that they listen to every day. There's something called brainwave entrainment, where you can slow your brain waves down using headphones and really calm your stress response and live more in a calm state. There's yoga, there's Tai Chi. There's so many modalities that can be incorporated to bring your nervous system out of fight or flight and into the parasympathetic. I'll be doing more videos. I'll be talking about some sound therapy techniques you can do at home. There's a humming technique you can do at home that activates your vagus nerve, which controls your parasympathetic response. So you self-hum, you activate it, and it trips you into the parasympathetic. So watch for some more videos from me. I'll do some short ones just with little exercises here and there that you can be doing on a daily basis or whenever you think about it, 2 or 3 minutes at a time. and really work on your stress response and get yourself into that parasympathetic self-healing state. That's where we need to live. Thank you guys. Love you. Bye-bye.